enough to join me here on set, and the good news is we have fans, we have beautiful weather, and the Steelers are back in pads for the second day in a row, Wolf.
They are indeed, and how exciting this is. Think about it. You played last night under the lights. You got a little, not just shells, so that wasn't a total physical thing, but you had pads the day before. Well, you come back, and now you're going to go and have an earlier pads practice. This is all about seeing guys that want to rebound, guys who have that tenacity, that ability to come out and maybe not fully rested. Let's see what you got. Mike Tomlin's definitely testing these guys today.
No doubt about it, and Steelers Fest is presented by Giant Eagle. It is free until 5 p.m. all on Art Rooney Avenue, also inside here. Still time to come down if you're watching from home. Wolf, I know you were down in the Great Hall when they were taking, there's the Steel Line, performing for everybody as they are walking into the stadium. You were part of the Hall of Honor unveiling, and I know Art Rooney, the second team president, said it felt like game day here.
Yes. There was definitely that game day flavor as you're walking through the crowds and you can hear the excitement, feel the intensity, and it's kind of building towards what you know is a padded practice, but it's still a practice, but yet they're making you feel like, wow, it is game day. And by the way, there were some ribs down there. Oh, did that smell good.
All right, maybe in between shows we'll get you one of those. I know you won't want to miss maybe backs on tight ends on backers. That was something Coach Tomlin said they did not do on Friday night. They wanted to, but due to Eric Ebron not practicing, Dax Raymond was waived. They were a little short there. So the pads are back on. Hopefully that is something that we see today.
Exactly so. And you're right, Missy. One of the things, and rightly so, was it canceled until today, hopefully. The fact is, you want to find out which one of these tight ends can get you the edge. You got to find out, can you overtake? Can you capture the edge? Give that ability when you have an outside zone for that back to be able to take it to the sidelines, or are you going to be stuffed by the edge setter? So I think it's so big for these guys to come out and show what they can do today, because capturing the edge or setting the edge on the defensive end of it is so primary and important in the running game.
All right, and it does appear that Kevin Dotson is fully dressed. I know that makes you excited. I do want to tell you, Coach Tomlin last night said, quote, they'll get a chance to answer the bell and put two back-to-back padded practices together. I'm excited to see who can ascend and rise up in the face of that type of adversity and who shrinks.
Exactly so. Missy, this is what it's all about. I mean, Mike Tomlin is a noted teacher, and one of the things you want to do is teach your team. Find out, number one, who are the guys that can rebound, who are the guys that can play that middle line and always rise to a performance level despite how they feel, whether they've had enough rest or anything like that. And it's also one of those things you mentioned the other day. Given COVID last year and the fact that sometimes there was uncertainty as to when and how if the game was going to be played, knowing that guys have that resiliency, that ability to productively go forward with enough practices, too much practice, or not enough practice, regardless, it's all about making sure your team is comfortable with how whatever they have to face, overcoming that.
All right, and just a little over an hour ago, the Steelers announced the 2021 Hall of Honor class. And Wolf, you were part of that. 4 great individuals and players, as I think was wisely put by Stan Savern. Just your thoughts on this group of guys who you know very well.
Tremendous men. I was blessed to be and privileged to be a teammate of all 4. They are 4 men of character. They're godly men. They're guys that really are involved in community effort, and they were prolific players. Whether it's Tunch Ilkin, which everybody knows has been my brother for over 40 years, we've walked together, or John Kolb, who was my mentor when I came into the league. These men are quality men. Louis Lips was one of these guys that you look at that, given today's modern era of passing, he'd have just been prolific in today's offenses. And of course, Carnell Lake was a guy. I find it always interesting that if you research it on the draft, of course, he was a linebacker at UCLA and they moved him to safety. But Mel Kiper said, well, it's a reach. What a great reach it was, because he is absolutely one of those guys that is so worthy of Hall of Fame or Hall of Honors, worthwhile.
All right, Mike Prisuta is once again down on the Ford fan zone outside in Heinz Field. Got the glasses on, nice polo trib, looking good for the last day before the players' first off day since we came here to Heinz Field. Tell me what you're looking forward to and also what you made of Friday Night Lights.
Well, let's start with what I'm looking forward to, what we talked about at the outset of this segment yesterday. I want to see that tight ends, running backs, backs on backers, the run game edition, just to remind everyone, in case you missed us yesterday, Mike Tomlin thinks this is the most important drill that they do. Tight ends in pass rush backs on backers are basically just there to get the outside linebackers some work. This time they want to see if they can control the end of the line of scrimmage or if the defense can set the edge. So it's a big deal. They were going to do it yesterday, but with Eric Ebron and Dax Raymond unavailable, the Steelers made what Mike Tomlin called a common sense adjustment. So hopefully we see that today since the pads are back on. As for what I saw in yesterday's practice, I think what I saw after practice, Missy, was as revealing as anything. There was that play in 7 shots where Mason Rudolph tried to fade to Deontay Johnson, and it was not only intercepted by James Pierre, it was returned all the way to the opposite end zone. After practice ends, who do we see on the field getting extra work in but Mason Rudolph and Deontay Johnson? And then Rudolph met the media and he said, yeah, they were working on that exact play, trying to go through it step by step and get it right. And when Mike Tomlin was asked about that, Missy, he said they don't get any extra credit for that. That's professional. That's what's required. So screw something up, address it, try to fix it for the next day. And as for Pierre's participation in that, I thought he had a wonderfully simplistic take. I had a chance to ask him if he knew that play was coming his way, and he said, no, all you do is play your technique, don't be sloppy, and when the ball comes, play the ball. Hey, it's working so far.
All right, Triv, knowing that they are back in pads once again, do you think the tight ends and backers drill will go on and take place today? That is something that obviously, as you said, did not take place yesterday. Yeah,
I hope so. I didn't happen to notice if Eric Ebron is participating today or not, but they did bring in another tight end who participated yesterday, Baugh, number 89. And I want to see Pat Freiermuth in the run blocking drill because, as we've talked about throughout this week, Mike Tomlin's been in his ear, Freiermuth's ear, whenever he catches a ball. That's good. Can you block? Eric Ebron's talked about blocking. Pat Freiermuth has talked about blocking. We've all been talking about blocking since the end of last year and running the ball better. And if you're going to run the ball better, you don't just need a first-round back from Alabama. You need better blocking. So I've got 88 circled on my calendar. If it doesn't happen today, Missy, I'm going to circle it Monday. I'm going to circle it Tuesday. We're going to see it sooner or later. Why not today?
Okay, you mentioned Najee Harris. What did you make of his performance in practice yesterday? I know after practice, Coach said that he still likes his competitive nature.
He does, and I got a sense, at least my personal view, I thought Mike Tomlin was pumping Najee Harris tires a little bit yesterday because he really struggled against Alex Highsmith and Jameer Jones, the outside linebacker from Notre Dame. Backs on backers did not go nearly as well for Harris as it had the first time. He also dropped a pass in 11-on-11 play. Hey, there's going to be good days and bad days. I don't think anybody expected him to come in and just dominate every day. He had looked so advanced in the early parts of training camp, both on the south side before we got over here to Heinz Field and then in the first couple of Heinz Field sessions. But be interesting to see how he bounces back today. Mike Tomlin did appreciate the competitiveness and the appetite for the competition, as he put it.
Okay, sticking with the running back position, number 26, Anthony McFarland. That is somebody that we've seen out here quite a bit being involved in the new Matt Canada offense. What do you make of his participation?
Very interesting. And Anthony McFarland, the guy who was mentioned by Mike Tomlin, I asked him about James Pierre and that interception yesterday, and Tomlin said Pierre is one of those guys who is showing the characteristics we expect from a second-year player. And then Tomlin went on to add to that discussion. He mentioned Alex Highsmith, he mentioned Anthony McFarland, and he mentioned Antoine Brooks. But what really intrigues me about McFarland is the two-back stuff they're doing, and he's splitting out a great deal while another running back is in the formation. We saw that in particular on the 7 shots touchdown a couple of days ago. Najee Harris was in the backfield, motioned out left. McFarland was wide right, and then Ben Roethlisberger threw the slant to Harris at the expense of Devin Bush. When you could put a running back out wide, Missy, and he's as fast as McFarland, kind of reminds me of the success the Cleveland Browns had last year, getting Kareem Hunt out on the wing. That's one way you can create a mismatch against the defense, even when the personnel group might not necessarily be in your favor. So I want to see how they develop this two-back stuff. You know, when people say two-back offense, you think of a fullback and a running back behind them. Steelers are exploring that in another, several other avenues, and I want to see some more of that stuff. It's interesting.
Okay, Ben Roethlisberger did not practice on Friday. He was still out there kind of coaching guys up. So today should be a full day. Have you had your eyes on him at all to see if he has the pads on and if he'll be ready to go?
He brought them onto the field with him, if that means anything, Missy. I don't know if he put them on yet, but sometimes they wait until just before they have to.
Okay, Triv, anything else you want to add before we let you go? I know you need to get to the spot, so you're ready to go for 7 shots.
The spot, yeah. I just wanted to add Mike Tomlin addressing the crowd again today, I think, is pretty neat. He did that last night as he had done a year ago on the Friday Night Lights when nobody was here. And once again, as he had done last year, he cited the Steelers' desire to participate in the formation of a more perfect union. Those words resonated with me then. They resonate with me now. They resonated with a whole bunch of people back in the 1770s. And I think that's a goal that we all need to keep close to heart.
I do not have an official count of the fans here today inside Heinz Field, Triv, but by my estimation, which probably isn't very good, this does appear to be the largest crowd of the week, don't you think?
Well, I can tell you that the end zone way behind me and the one here right in front of me have people milling about. That hasn't been the case yet. I think it's going to be a pretty big day here.
Okay, Triv, thanks so much as always. We'll talk to you again on Monday.
Thanks, Missy.
Okay, Wolf, a lot to be excited about, as Triv put it there. Going back to Najee Harris, what did you make of his performance yesterday?
You know, he got tested. Now, the thing that you have to remember when you get tested is how do you respond? He responded well. The demeanor that this guy shows, the competitive demeanor, as Mike Tomlin likes to call it, is very important because there are going to be trials and tribulations coming up this upcoming season. And if he's the bell cow, if he's going to be the 3-down back, he's got to be able to come back from a subpar performance to a par performance to a over par performance, okay? He's got to be terrific. And that's one of the things he's capable of doing. He's obviously shown that he's got great resiliency and he's got great determination. So I look for him to just keep expanding on these qualities and show that he is worthy of being the bell cow.
If we can get a shot down on the field, Wolf, I just peeked around and Minkah Fitzpatrick is rolling a medicine ball almost like he is bowling into appears to be the tight end. So having some fun, and I can hear some cheers coming from the crowd as well. As we said, today is Steelers Fest presented by Giant Eagle. Not that it's never a great day to come out to Steelers training camp, but this one extra special with everything happening out on Art Rooney Ave. Here are some great photos submitted by fans to Steelers Nation Unite and by themselves. Just look at that little cutie right there. Free ice cream out on Art Rooney Ave, if that does not entice you enough to want to come down and check things out. But as you said, just a great day to be here.
It is indeed, Missy. You know, this is all part of the joy of being a Steelers fan, to congregate with other Steelers fans and participate and enjoy it. And you see Minkah right there. He's bowling for tight ends or whatever over in that area, or throwing them at a defensive backs. Yeah, you just don't know what he's doing. But, you know, that's the fun thing. You know, in football, you've got to have fun because it is so dadgum hard that if you go through and never crack a smile, it just makes for a long training camp. Minkah's got the right idea. Part of the joy of being together as teammates is experiencing the fun and the friendship that you develop because blood, sweat, and tears are being laid out here. Because let me tell you something, come the last cut, there are going to be tears. I mean, dreams will end. But for right now, the joy is in the participation, the teammates, and preparing yourself for the upcoming journey.
And there you see in the top right corner, number 7 in white, Ben Roethlisberger. He does have the pads on, so Triv was leading us in the right direction. As he said, he brought them out, he put them on. So that will be exciting for the fans here, but also for a chance if there are some of the younger guys who are getting first-team reps, like the Kendrick Greens, to get to work with Ben Roethlisberger.
No question about it, and that sort of transition from one quarterback to another to the big quarterback, that meaning Big Ben. That's so very important because having that consistency is something that you've got to have. It's got to be a 100% reliability. There is no room for errors there, and certainly you want to get every rep that you can, especially when you're at the nerve center of the offensive line, such as Kendrick Green is. He's there directing traffic, and he's got a lot of verbiage and a lot of responsibility on his shoulders with nothing more than the fact that you've got a Hall of Fame quarterback behind you, that you're stepping in for a guy who's probably going to wear a Hall of Fame jacket at some point in time and whose number you are wearing.
Yeah.
So there's a lot.
No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure there.
No pressure.
I don't feel any pressure.
All right, Ben Roethlisberger, as we said, there in pads, so that is the good news for those in attendance. Also, the refs are back. So that will be interesting to see. I know yesterday there were some flags thrown during practice.
There was more than some.
Yeah, well, there was a few scuffles too, but I think it is good for both sides of the ball, and everybody likes to have a little fun with the officials now and then too.
No question about it, and certainly you want to be gracious in acknowledging the zebra stripe folks here. Certainly you want to make friends with them as much as possible. But the fact is, you know what? Just their mere presence is something that makes players think about. All right, I know that I got to be careful in my technique. I know that I can't get away with being sloppy because those flags will come out. As we saw, even with Najee. Najee was, flagged a couple times for holding, and I look at that and go, oh, that's amateur hour. You go to the offensive line. Now, there's the true pros.
All right, and I just saw a cool tweet. There is a mini putt-putt course on the Ford Fan Zone. That's where Prisuta was. How did he miss out on that of telling us that? That's pretty cool. One of the features here inside for Steelers Fest. Wolf, would you be good at some putt-putting?
I don't want to brag, but I was at Nemacolin and Woodlands this offseason with the rest of the Wolfley clan. We were there. We played golf up there, and I was 7 over par. Now, it was the putt-putt course, and I did beat my girls and my wife. So I don't want to brag, but yeah, I won.
Didn't take it easy on them, jeez. All right, there we see Alex Highsmith as the Steelers are still getting ready for warm-up and stretch. That's going to happen in just a few minutes before they break out into individuals. How did he make out in the second day of pads on Friday night?
Oh, did he look good? I like this kid. Everything about him speaks of great promise and great upside. You watch him, he is a diligent student of the game. He's one of these guys, you watch him, he watches TJ. You watch him, he watches Mel Ingram, right? I mean, this is a guy who wants to learn, wants to be great. And right there you can see where TJ's going through some of the motions, like the karate masters of old. You'd see guys making moves, Karate Kid, on air and stuff, but they work on their moves over and over. And Mike Tomlin has referenced that many times with TJ, and in addressing the fact that he just goes over his moves consistently, working on his own in practice. Well, you know what? A guy like Alex Highsmith is going, maybe I just need to be, if I need to be his dummy, I'll be his dummy. And he can work on me, but I'm going to learn from him. And that's one of the things about being a young student of the game. Make sure you're paying attention, because the vets won't always speak as to what they're doing, but you can always see what they're doing.
We just saw there on one of the graphics, 56 sacks in 2020 for the Steelers defense, 4 straight seasons with 50 plus. Do you think they can do it again for 5 straight?
I have no doubts in my mind. Let the dogs feed. You keep storming the castle. That's one of the greatest advantages of this defense, is that they can take advantage of the fact that you got constant pressure on the quarterback. Now, you're the quarterback, you drop back, you're thinking, you know what? I don't want to get hit. There's some heavy hoofers up front there. The Stephon Tuitt, Cam Hayward. These guys are coming at me time and time again, and they get close so many times. Even when they don't knock the quarterback down, they're close enough to ruffle his feathers and maybe make an errant throw or deliver it quicker. This is what it's all about, defensively speaking. High-intensity action that keeps a quarterback guessing.
All right, we had a chance to see Mason Rudolph running with the ones on Friday night due to Ben Roethlisberger getting the night off. We had a chance to hear from Mason a little bit after practice last night. Let's take a listen.
A little bit, he made a great play on the ball, but I got to put it, where it belongs, on the back pylon, and let him make a play.
Coming off the field, do you feel like you guys got what you wanted to accomplish right there at the end? You feel like you're in a better place than you were in 7 shots?
I think every day you're trying to come out here and become a better player than you were when you stepped on the field. And I think we've had a good camp so far. Guys are making plays. Guys are maturing. We've got a lot of veteran players and a lot of young players. And I think the group's meshing well together. And I think 8-9 practices in, we're heading in the right direction.
Back down live to the field today, there is Mason Rudolph warming up with Dwayne Haskins, Josh Dobbs, and as Mike Prisuta said during his report, Wolf, that 7 shots pass that did not go correctly to Deontay Johnson. They worked on that after practice, after the horn blew, to get it right.
Well, it's funny because I think it's real estate or whatever, businesses, they say location, location, location. And ball location is very important, being able to target and make sure you're on the same page with the wide receiver. And if you're not, and if you have a resultant interception such as James Pierre, which was really a tremendous singular effort by him, and take that and go to the house, you're going to come back and make sure you get the work done. That's how a professional handles it. That's what you do. You acknowledge the fact, yeah, I was short in that area, but you come back and you work on, like they have the garbage can drill. They don't throw into a garbage can for no reason. I mean, just to do it. They want to create that arc and location and target at the right place. So if you've got a live body there, you work on it. And I think that just speaks to Mason's professionalism, getting the job done, get better at it.
Okay, and there we're looking live at number 42. That is James Pierre, who had the pick six of Mason Rudolph. We also had a chance to hear from him following practice, a big Friday night for him. So let's take a listen.
And I just work my technique at the line, did what my coach told me to do. And we did drills in practice before 2 days ago, and I just took the drill to the practice.
Over the last couple of weeks, how much more comfortable have you gotten taking more of a primary role in Steelers?
You never get too comfortable, you know what I'm saying? So I just take the same edge every day, wake up the same time every day, try to keep the same edge.
James, you try to take advantage of these days when Joe's maybe down or taking a rest?
You got to, next guy up, next guy in, we're just preparing for later down in the road, I probably might be called upon, I don't know which week, what day, I just got to be ready.
All right, and he also said, Wolf, as I heard you saying amen to everything that he was saying and just what James Pierre said after practice, whatever you do in practice, those reps, they transition to when it becomes competitive. And this is a guy who really made a name for himself right here at Heinz Field in 2020.
He did indeed, Missy. He was a stand-up. Matter of fact, he was my training camp phenom, which we never really finished off last year because of the lack of training camp. So Chaluch, I won last year, just letting you know that. But the fact of the matter is, with James Pierre, you've got a young man who's nice and long, 6'2", got that speed, got that ability to get up in the air. We saw it on that interception. But I will say this also, remember, Deontay Johnson, Lynn Swan was about your size, and he went up and battled for a lot of footballs, too. You learn to do that. It's a part and parcel of becoming a pro. Deontay's got a great future, no doubt about it. Those are little tidbits that guys can take away and add to their game so that they're more productive.
And James Pierre, Justin Lane, those are two young guys who are getting more reps when Joe Hayden, who of course is a veteran, is going to get some time off, some days off, just like the Ben Roethlisbergers and Cam Haywards of this team, Wolf. And they know that they have to take advantage, especially as they're working Cam Sutton outside and maybe trying to figure out that replacement for Mike Hilton inside.
Absolutely. That is what it's all about. When you have the opportunity to display what you can do, you better perform. Like Mike Tomlin said, and we'll keep repeating it, if you show us out here, meaning on the field, we're going to believe you. We'll take you at your performance. That is what it's all about. All you're asking for as a player is an opportunity to show that you're capable of doing the job. So when you're given that platform, you got to come through. You got to make the plays. And for the young guys, this is really all about the growth experience that they're presenting you with. And you better, by golly, take advantage of that opportunity, because the opportunities will be dwindling as we move forward.
All right, I do see there Melvin Ingram, Tyson Alualu, Cam Hayward had a vet's day off yesterday. He's back in pads, but B.J. Finney there and Trey Turner not in pads. So some O-line news for you there, Wolf.
Yeah, indeed. I remember when we got we would have Veterans Day off. Oh, no, we didn't back in the day. Never mind. But for these young guys, yes. This is the state of football today, and that's a good thing. They're going to be healthier. You have an opportunity to see some other guys take center stage. Trey Turner has put in some productive time. B.J. Finney, everybody knows his quality of ball that he plays. It's, again, that opportunity to rest a little. It's also the opportunity for other guys to step up and take advantage of their time in the spotlight. And you got veterans such as Tyson. Hey, you got Melvin Ingram there, I mean, it's always about proving what you're capable of doing lately. Not from last year, but right now.
Absolutely. Tyson Alualu joined us on our wrap-up show last night, and we had to wait for him because he was still working out with Alex Highsmith. I said, are you two fighting over who's going to be the last one on the field every day? And he said, hey, sometimes you got to get some handwork in that you don't get a chance to do at practice. So that's a vet still putting in the extra work and making sure that he is fine-tuning everything he needs to do to get ready for the season.
This speaks to the exceptional professionalism and why Tyson Alualu is a quality performer here in double-digit years. talking about the hand play. Back in my day, it just started coming on, the hand play in the early 80s when the offense or the NFL finally made it a fair fight and was allowed the offensive linemen to be able to use their hands instead of being a heavy bag on 2 feet. Well, one of the things that came out of this is the fact that defensive linemen started going, well, I can do a little more hand fighting too then. And they've upped the game. And you can see in the close quarter combat, as we refer to the hand play in the trenches, a guy like Tyson Alualu, if you go back a few years, Kimo von Oelhoffen was very much similar. Terrific with his hands, accurate, knocking hands down, being able to get to the elbow, get the edge of a man, turn his shoulders. Well, Tyson Alualu to me is like, he's like Kimo 1.5. I mean, just a little bit better with his hands maybe, but certainly Kimo was a wonderful performer, and so was Tyson.
All right, as I'm watching down live on the field as you're speaking, Wolf, I did see Eric Ebron sneak past, not in pads, so that elbow injury keeping him out once again. Maybe we'll see after the player's day off tomorrow if he'll return next week.
Well, we can only hope so. I mean, one of the things about this tight end class is the fact that you've got speed, you've got blockability, I think, coming on. And one of the guys that really has captured my attention over the last week is Zach Gentry. Zach Gentry, you were talking about, he bodified himself good. I mean, he got on the weights, he was lifting and got stronger, and you said, hey, he's looking like he's jacked more. He's looked like he's more of a tight end than a former quarterback, by golly, right? So the fact is, he can catch the ball. He's been doing a great job of that. But that's what I want to see on this edge setter, outside linebackers and tight ends. Can he show us now that he's capable of using all that extra strength, that body size, and be able to use that forcefully to take guys off the line of scrimmage? That's what I want to see.
And he's 6'12", as Eric Ebron said, right?
I love it because you know what? For a guy that's flunked math twice like I have, it makes perfect sense to me.
All right, we are still taking a look at Tyson Alualu and the D-line. Let's listen to a little bit of Tyson post-practice yesterday.
Yeah, I think first and foremost, I think everybody just has to get to that point where we're all healthy as we can be when we challenge teams like that. I mean, this is a great competition just in the AFC North, and we're excited about the battles. But like I said, it's all the little details that we got to pay attention to, and like I said, just being available when it's time to play those games, because it's always about that hard-nosed, physical games where we can all go out there, and it's about having depth where, Cam and Tua isn't taking all the place, where we can go in and, give a spill and like I said, not have a drop off and, keep the standard high and, kind of work off each other.
I also had a chance to talk to Tyson, Wolf, about Kendrick Green. Just asked, this is a guy who said that you, Cam Hayward, all the D-line is helping him get better as a young rookie, and he kind of cemented him as the center. I know he's seeing him a lot because of those first-team reps. What do you make of that, iron sharpens iron, as Coach Tomlin likes to say, between Kendrick Green and this defensive line?
This is telling. When a veteran like Tyson Alualu takes the time to uplift a young man such as Kendrick Green, it speaks, number one, to the leadership qualities and the great mentorship that a guy like Tyson is able to bestow on other guys, which very much in our day, I remember Joe Green, telling Tunch Ilkin, talks about it all the time, hey, you're getting better. And Tunch would be like, he's calling his parents, Joe Green said I was better. But it uplifted Tunch. In the same way, it uplifts a young Kendrick Green and gives him that juice, that knowledge that, you know what? I'm gaining respect here, and that's what it's all about. You want the respect of your teammates. You want to be able to break in. You're wearing 5'3". That's the number of Marquise Pouncey. That's the number of a guy who is going to be gold jacketed someday. That's a lot to live up to, but yet the young man comes out, gives it his best shot. And when you watch these two locked up in mortal combat, such as they were a couple days ago, right? What did we see? We saw on one Kendrick Green stuffed, a nice three-card Monty move. What I refer to that, it's like 3 moves he throws in, and Kendrick was right there, kind of stuffed Tyson. Now Tyson came back, returned the favor a couple plays later, and drove Kendrick back faster than he wanted to go backwards, I guarantee you. And that's part of that sort of learning process and exchanging of information as a wily vet, and a strong wily vet at that, and a prolific wily vet, I might say. Teaching a young guy, and the young guy learning and coming off of it and being able to better himself for the next time.
All right, some good O-line news. I saw J.C. Hassenauer has his pads on. There you see him in the top left corner. So hopefully he's making his way back from the injury that he was dealing with since the Steelers were at the south side. But knowing no Trey Turner in pads, no B.J. Finney, who are some young offensive linemen you want to keep an eye on today, Wolf?
Well, you know, you always want to make sure that you're looking at the Dan Moores. See what this young man's capable of. I watched his tape. You know, he was able to punch. He was able to move, work the line. He's got some quality, ability to come off and tear into guys. But is his punch points, meaning where he puts his hands, are they real accurate? And sometimes you see guys, he's a little bit fuzzy on it. Well, this is a time to work on it. I want to see more from him. The Aviante Collins and you see Brandon Walton and these guys out there. These are all guys that you want to take a look at. Rashad Coward, who's got a lot of starting, or I shouldn't say a lot of starting, but he's got NFL's quality starts and has done well. These are all the guys that have an opportunity now to shine and show what they can do. Joe Haig, you know, I mean, there's a guy that probably is in the driver's seat for the playing the swing tackle. Well, this is an opportunity to keep showing that you are the guy capable of doing that, because I guarantee you that the Moore kid, he's going to want to show and hopefully have an opportunity to be able to grab that spot. So this is all about guys coming forward and doing the best that they can and doing it like J.C. Hassenauer. I'm anxious to see him. You know, it's funny because he came to the walk too. He was another guy that came to the Tunch and Wolf walk for the Light of Life rescue mission. And I went, JC, you've been pumping iron, brother. You look good. I mean, you look like you've been squatting with cars on your back and everything else. And he was looking like one of those guys that really spent a good off season getting jacked up more. And then for him to unfortunately have a knee, injury that dings you at the start. You want to build upon successive practices and stack wins, like Mike Tomlin says.
An Alabama guy as well, and you mentioned John Luke, Anthony Cole. Those were guys that we saw taking some snaps at center when they were on the south side because of the injuries to JC and BJ, and then obviously Kendrick had an excuse for a personal reason that day. So as Coach Tomlin said, we're professionals. We do know who our fourth and fifth possible center are, but they were kind of getting down to the nitty gritty, and Zach Banner we still see is in street clothes. So a lot of opportunities for the young guys who are here to try to prove themselves.
Undoubtedly so. And we saw Anthony Coyle have a nice little go-around set too, with a little fisticuffs out there with a little heated action. Zach Banner, I'm looking forward to seeing him get back on the field. When he's able to step back on the field and get something done, it's going to be, to me, I'm a little bit anxious to see him. I know he's got to be. When you have a knee injury and you come back, getting confidence in that injured joint, that knee, be it a knee, an elbow, what have you, you want to get confidence in that it's going to hold up under the rigors of your profession. And for Zach Banner, it's, you want to get back on the field as quick as possible. And by the way, another young guy that I, see right out there, Kevin Dotson. Oh, I want to see the Dotson out there. I really loved what this young man did last year, and I'm hoping that he can, as we talked about earlier, just kind of take that as a starting point and move on, because I think he's got some exceptional capabilities in that offensive line.
In terms of the padded practices, we didn't ask for questions today because we had so much going on with the Hall of Honor and Steelers Fest and just so much news to bring you guys, but I still did get some, and one was from Jay Swift. Said, which practices are padded? How do you know when's backs on backers? Sometimes we don't really know until right before practice, unfortunately. I think Coach Tomlin does a really good job of making adjustments on the fly, being light on his feet, as he likes to say. Not necessarily, knowing after a Friday night in pads some things he didn't like, putting him back in pads today, saying, I want to see them go 2 days in a row. Those are things that can happen. So unfortunately, maybe we could give you, here's what we think, but as always, things are always changing.
Absolutely.
The weather will play a factor into that, as well as we saw the other day where we thought we were going to be completely stormed out, and it ended up being a beautiful day here in Pittsburgh.
Absolutely. You are so correct, Missy. You got to stay light on your feet, because number one, I'll tell you this, if you come to the practice, just follow with your eyes Mike Tomlin, because he's going to go to the most ballistic action, okay? So you find him, you're going to find where the action's really happening. The second thing about it is I don't think there's another coach in the NFL who is more in tune with how each player is feeling, how they're going about, getting their rehab, getting their rest, getting how heavily exerted they feel. Mike Tomlin spends a lot of time in just getting the temperature of the room, knowing the lay of the land with the guys, so to speak, because that helps him qualify in the decisions that he's making. Because that's what a head coach does. You got to know your people, and that's one of the things I think he excels in.
And we were just taking a look at the DBs. We're back over here to them, and that is where Coach Tomlin is. So there must be something happening over there that he likes. There's Jerry Olsowski. Just take us through what you're seeing as the team is going through individuals, Wolf.
What Jerry's explaining right now about blading the body, leading with an inside hand, and then lifting the arm. And it's all about the creating a blitzing package for the linebackers. All right, you don't want to be squared up coming into one of those big 300-pounders. You want to maximize a slender surface, so you blade your body, turn the shoulders, create less of a punch surface, and then you lift the arm and duck under. And those are things that a guy like Jerry Olsowski, he learned in his days of doing it. It wasn't seeing it on film or learning it through a book. This guy was one who, this is what he did for a living, and he's able to communicate that to the guys.
What have you seen from Derek Watt there? We see number 44 so far during this training camp.
You know, it was interesting because I'm a big fan of Derek Watt. You know, I happened to be up at Nemacolin and Woodlands, as I was saying the other day.
There you go, bragging again.
What can I say? I love the place, right? But I'm sitting there in the townhouse in the morning, you know, just having a little commiserate and having some coffee and everything. And we were right by the zoo area, and this buffalo comes along. I see one of these big horned beasts come along with the thick neck and the horns and everything. And I go, by golly, you know what? He'd make a great fullback. I mean, this is my mind, right? My wife looks at me and goes, oh, you need help, honey. I mean, but this is what I'm thinking. Boy, with him. And I'm thinking, Derek Watt. Yes, we need more of Derek Watt. Give me some Derek Watt. Well, I thought he started in the camp, did some good things, you know, just kind of getting his feet wet. Well, we're seeing a little bit more of that strength, that squareness when he enters the line. He's getting, getting the tractor beam located on the linebackers and kind of blowing up some guys. I think that we can add to his capabilities and create more for the Matt Canada offense. I hope that they come with more fullback. I know a lot of people like, no, we want to see all wide receivers and everything, but I like to see the smash, bang, bang stuff.
Power.
Yes, just the old school, let's have at it. And I think he's part of the rough and tumble that can come in the offense this year.
Okay, and right to the left of Derek Watt is Jalen Samuels. No pads on for him today. Doesn't look like he will be a full go. And going back to your Nemacolin story, well, I thought when you were talking about the Buffalo, you were going to say, then I saw the Watt family walk past. But no, I think your wife is right. You need to stay away from football a little bit in the offseason.
Yes, indeed. I think you're exactly right, Missy. Even on vacation, the noggin is still kind of perusing football. You know what I mean?
All right, sticking with the running backs, I see Benny Snell Jr. Benny Snell football, as Coach Tomlin likes to say. Did you see anything from him yesterday on Friday night?
Yeah, I did. Did some good things. He's always had the capabilities of being a ball toter, being able to do those things. A little bit more with the blocking. I thought he did some really good things there. I don't know about his pass catching yet, if his pass receiving is as prolific as it should be. But again, that's for him to prove. We're in just the beginning stages of this. You talked about Jalen Samuels earlier, and one of the things I saw Jalen, remember when he caught that nice touchdown pass? From
Ben, yeah.
Yeah, he put a great wiggle move on a linebacker. I don't know who it was, but he dusted him pretty good. And Jalen, he's been a little quiet. We need to see, what you got. What are you going to do? We need a little more volume coming out of Jalen Samuels. And Benny Snell, I would say the same thing. He's got quality, there's no doubt about it. But, the running back room has been upped a bit by the presence of Najee. So we're going to see how that all falls out. But certainly he's got his opportunities. Anthony McFarland coming along, too, as we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of depth at that running back position as we're still watching them go through the individual portion here of the Steelers' final practice before an off day tomorrow. Back on Monday, Coach Tomlin was asked about Kalen Ballage, another guy in that group who, just said he is a veteran. That's what he's showing. He's been in the league, not new to the NFL, and training camp-like competition is not something that he shies away from.
That's exactly, and I couldn't say it any better. I can't even add on to that. All I remember is watching Kalen, whether it's in the backs on backers, he is definitely a stout performer, not afraid to put his grill on somebody else's grill. The other thing, too, was watching him carry the ball. I remember when he got to the outside in that first tackling day, and he was running the sidelines, and the defensive back was edging him towards it, using the out of bounds as a 12th defender. And then what? I think Kalen just said, no, I'm not going there. I ain't going to run out of bounds. He turns, and he just, boom, whoever that defensive back got a face full of Kalen Bellage, who just drove him into the ground. So I like that. It's more of a physical presence that he carries with him. And as Mike Tomlin said, he's a veteran. That's, he's doing what a veteran should do.
All right, back over looking live at the Steelers defense, still warming up here at Heinz Field. What are we seeing in terms of them stripping the ball and kind of doing some Mika Fitzpatrick-like things?
This is what it's all about for the D-backs, being ball aware, making sure that you're always testing the ball security by the opposition. And these are things that you have to work on over and over and over. This is like a boxer learning a jab. This is like a martial artist learning a roundhouse kick. It's all about the tools that you have, and one of them as a defender is making sure that when you make contact, you are always thinking about, and not even really thinking about, you just automatically go after the ball. You go test that ball security. Is that guy protecting both points with the hand over one end, the elbow tucked in the other point tucked into the elbow? Those are the things that you want to do without even thinking about it. It should be part and parcel of who you are as a defensive back. The biggest thing about all this is that the repetition, because what you want to do is make sure when you go out there, you don't want to think. You don't want to have to think about those things because you are so inculcated with your technique, it just comes out of you. You want to breathe the play. That's all it is. It's just breathing the play, and you go out and do what you have been born to do.
In terms of the backs on backers, we talked about tight ends on backers. Do you think Najee Harris maybe gets a do-over today?
Oh, no doubt about it. I mean, this young man, he's one part of testing somebody's demeanor is to test it over and over again. I mean, back in our day, the Oklahoma drill, the one-on-ones, the two-a-days, the conditioning after the second of 2.5 hour practices. It was all about a testing, not just of your abilities, but again, your demeanor. Demeanor was a word that was used way back when and maybe came in other forms and other metaphors, but it's a testing of your manhood on a daily basis. You hang around with the guys like the Joe Greens, the Jack Lamberts, the Mel Bunts, the Donnie Shells. I can go on and ad nauseum. They're going to test your manhood day after day, and so that's just part and parcel of what it is in training camp, and part and parcel of if you're a newbie, you come in, it takes a while for you to be able to establish who you are in the room and on the field.
We saw a few scuffles yesterday, not that that is uncommon during practices or, of course, training camp where it is long, monotonous, and typically hot. Is it fair to say that sometimes it usually ends up being between O-line, D-line due to the nature of their positions, Wolf, or is everything fair game when it comes to training camp scuffles?
Well, it's the etiquette of today is a little bit better. I think it's Mike Tomlin's rule number 6, thou shalt not fight thy teammate, which, it's in essence, it's a good thing. Back in the day, I remember being told before camp, you will be tested by any number of guys, and that defense back from the 70s into the 80s, there was a wild bunch there. You will be tested, and if you don't stand up for yourself, it will not be thought well of you. That was a different time in the NFL, and indeed, the first day with the veterans, I think it was 20 minutes in, I was in a slugfest with Steve Furness, and the best part about it was after they broke it up, the whole hillside at St. Vincent's College, the whole hillside, there was 20,000 people there. They stood up and gave us a standing ovation. I'm going, that's the only standing O I ever got in my whole football career. So, but the fact is, yes, you're going to be tested, and you want to make sure that you adhere to the training camp protocols and the etiquette of practice. But sometimes, it goes beyond. These are all alpha males out here. I mean, you are not going to last out here very long if you have no real substance to yourself. Obviously, everybody here has been a star at some level in their football journey, and when you get that many alpha males together, you're going to have some barking.
Alpha male things happen.
Alpha, yes. I couldn't have said it better. Alpha male things happen.
All right, we are looking live at the inside linebackers, which is perfect timing. Jeff did just tweet me. Wolf wants to know if you're concerned about the unproven middle linebacker depth behind Bush and Spillane.
It's interesting. That's a great point. Thank you for the question. You look at a Buddy Johnson, you look at UG3, and you look at where's the third guy? I'm trying to think. linebackers.
Marcus
Marcus Allen.
Allen.
Jeepers, how could I forget Chico? All right, so you got these three young bucks, and each one of them brings a serious amount of athleticism and a bang to. You know, I'm not concerned really because as I look at it and I think about, number one, Marcus Allen. Marcus Allen is just learning the rules of the road when you drop from the safety to the box position and realize that you've got to fight 300-pounders. And he's gotten better at it. He had an off season where he got stronger for it, and he's going to be a better performer this year than he was last year, I certainly believe. Buddy Johnson's interesting because he was just such a high-level performer in the sec where they ran the ball an awful lot. And it's funny because a lot of people are saying, well, he can't cover. And as Jerry O said, well, he didn't have to cover. All right? I mean, that's the whole thing. He just didn't have to do a lot of those things in college. But in pros, you know, you can't tell me this kid cannot go sideline to sideline and have enough hit ability and quickness to be able to get the job done. You know, certainly, and UG3 is the guy that I just can't quite let go of. You know, I know that he's had a couple back injuries. And the biggest thing about it is what Jerry Olszewski said. Look, the one thing you want to do if you're going to have an injury, you got to pick up where you left off. And he has done that. He's got some great physical attributes. You watch him when he's out there. He's got quickness. He's got leap ability. He's got an incredible amount of see-do quickness and reaction speed. Now, can he stay healthy? That's the question right now. So I'm not really concerned because those three guys, between the three of them, they offer up an awful lot of seeing and hitting and quickness and speed and all those things, those essential elements that you need out of an inside linebacker. These guys are fully capable of.
All right, well, it has been a fun week one of Steelers training camp here at Heinz Field. Players have the day off tomorrow as we say goodbye here on Training Camp Live. Presented by FedEx, here is a look back at some of the best sights and sounds from week one. We'll see you guys after practice.
And so I'm excited about tonight and as we proceed into the morning.
Everybody's out there just trying to get better.
Nice job, nice job, nice job.
1st and 10 football. If you ain't in, get out. More fans in the stands and more energy.
This time of year, it's a lot of fun.
Find rhythm there and find our game within that dress.
Y'all know what time it is.
Turnover time, let's get it.
Out there just trying to be the best we can be to, you know, be a great team.
Oh, you know, you love the first day in pads. It's like the first day of school.
Yeah! 3rd down, what y'all cooking on back here, 20?
Right now, we're just putting in the work.
Come on, we gotta let's go. All in on 3. 1, 2, 3, all in.